All right, folks, welcome back. It's Dave here once again, and doing my channel, Save America, Vote for Tulsi Gabbard. This is your channel. This is Tulsi's channel, and I appreciate all the new subscribers. We are actually getting pretty close to 1,000, which is pretty astounding to get 1,000 subscribers in right about a month. I started this as something called the neocon job, and then I changed it because I heard Tulsi Gabbard speak, and I said, okay, I need to help this woman. I need to do something. And yes, I'm center-right. I know I'm getting some people saying, so what are you center-right about? I mean, it's almost like they want to find out so they can hate me. So I'm just going to keep those opinions to myself. They tend to be on more social issues than on the issues that I'm talking about. Although I would say I'm evolving. I'm kind of a work in progress, and I'm open-minded to the point where I'm listening, and I'm waking up to some things that I wasn't awake to before. Let's put it that way. You know, I was reared on lots of conservative talk radio. You could say maybe I needed to, you know, because that's establishment too, by the way, in case you're wondering. All of because the conservative talk radio is all, you know, neocon. It's mostly neocon radio. So, and it depends on who's more passionate or clever or angry sounding, whose voice is the most annoying. I would say Mark Levin's voice was probably the most annoying. Who's the most despotic person? Probably Glenn Beck. I mean, I could go down the list. Who's innocuous? Probably Rush Limbaugh. I mean, he's just an entertainer. Sean Hannity, I don't know what Sean Hannity is about. Is he principled? I don't know. The thing that bothered me about Sean Hannity is he's interviewing Trump and he's saying, Bush got us into this war, and Sean Hannity was the biggest cheerleader of the Iraq war. Oh, they moved those weapons to Syria. They moved them. And I think to this day, he still says that or believes it, and it's just, okay, you're done. I'm done with you. So I went through all those people and decided to turn it all off. And then I started watching things like RT, Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore was like, someone says, like a gateway drug. That's good. That was kind of it. If, you know, everyone says, you should talk to Jimmy Dore. Well, Jimmy Dore his people would have to contact my people. My people would be me, and you could always leave a message here on one of the videos. I had a gentleman do that the other day, and I could just tell it like it is. I'm not really afraid to talk about where I've been and where I've come from to this point. So anyway, all that just to say that my support for Tulsi Gabbard is rooted primarily in her anti-war stance. But I am willing to listen to other policy areas. When it comes to healthcare, I'm so very open-minded because our system doesn't really work, and people shouldn't go broke. There's a woman, I do another channel, and she does music promotions, and her husband has a really weird kind of cancer, and they can fight it, but they're constantly being denied coverage and the money that they're putting out there, and they have a GoFundMe. I don't have any money at the time, and I actually gave the lady some money. Not to boast, but I just felt compelled to do it. So I understand the healthcare system is broken, and it needs to be fixed, and we should just take care of each other as human beings. That's not really that's not a socialist concept. It's just a contract between human beings that say, hey, you know, this guy gets sick, he shouldn't die because he doesn't have coverage, or he shouldn't go broke. We are living in, you know, the 21st century, so you would think that things would improve. They'd continually get better. So it's kind of weird how there's this big battle to save the insurance companies, you know. One thing that Tulsi Gabbard is concerned about is the gouging that goes on in the insurance industry. And she understands that the outcomes that we're getting versus other countries, especially considering what we pay, isn't very good. And this is even with what you would call good quality private insurance, it doesn't always work out so well. I mean, you have to have the Cadillac plans and so forth. And no, I'm not a fan of Obamacare because I used to work for General Dynamics, who were hired as a contractor, believe it or not, as a call center facility up in near Tampa. And I worked there. The money was actually pretty good, but the job was insanity. Most people who called in were asking me, hey, so how do I get my free Obamacare? And it wasn't free, and I had to explain to them that it's a subsidy, and you got to make this amount of money. It's kind of like a sweet spot. If you make too little, you don't get it, which everybody at the call center was just blown away. The people who would call in didn't have enough money to qualify for this program, who've been sold that this is kind of like a government-run healthcare program, but it was really just all insurance-driven. And the people who got the subsidies, the magic 8-ball subsidies, I used to call them, because the insurance plan would cost like $800 a month, and they would get a subsidy, and that's price gouging right there, and they'd get a subsidy for like $805, and it was just magic. And I'd be like, wow, these insurance companies are killing it. They're making a fortune off of this. This isn't like a plan for people. This is a plan for insurance companies. And the people who didn't qualify were just outraged. And sometimes they did qualify for it, and their premiums were just, you know, depending if they weren't in that sweet spot, they were too little or a little bit more, it would throw it out of whack, and they would qualify, but then their premiums that weren't covered by the subsidy were still like $400 or $500 a month. And you're like, yeah, you got the subsidy, but you're still going to have to pay $400, $500 a month. So, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard has a point on healthcare. In fact, the entire progressive movement has a point on healthcare. Donald Trump is out there saying now that he's got all this political cover, thanks to the Russiagate scandal. He's talking about how the Republican Party is going to be the party of healthcare. Okay. How are they going to do that? I mean, those guys want to constantly cut Medicare and Social Security and all that stuff. You know, they're not going to sit down and design a program for people who aren't able to pay for it. They're going to probably make a program that works for people that have a lot of money or who have a good job. If you've got a good job, you know, like my wife has a good job, thank God we have decent health care thanks to her job, but not everybody is in that position, and we weren't in that position for some time. I know Medicaid expansion was a solution in you know, the states basically had to expand their Medicaid programs. And again, if we've got, you know, trillions of dollars to spend on war, see, not everybody needs it. So you think you'd be able to cover the people that actually need it. People aren't going to drop their Cadillac plans to go get Medicaid. They're not going to do that. So you would think that the money left over or the money could be transferred into it. You know, it's kind of like the movie Dave. You know, you just think to yourself, well, how come we're not fixing this problem? How come we have homeless people? We can't make some housing downtown for these people and maybe spend some money on some rehabilitation programs? But we can build up a brand new bridge that, you know, looks really nice. And I mean, infrastructure is important, but I'm just saying sometimes the architecture is more for show and not for function. So anyway, all that to basically say that Tulsi Gabbard gets it on healthcare. She gets it, and I really appreciate her, you know, her views on it, and she is for Medicare for all. And I'm going to have to, you know, the devil is in the details. Being a guy who used to listen to all this conservative talk and how it was vilified, that wasn't even talked about. It's just, the free market will fix it. And I was like, okay, but don't you have to have some controls or so? I mean, even I was skeptical because the free market, if it, you know, it will jack prices up. And if it's a profit motive in healthcare, it's just a weird thing. I mean, this is healthcare. This isn't like, you know, recreational stuff that you can do. It isn't like going and buying tickets to a concert or something, you have disposable income, and yeah, the tickets cost $300. You decide if you want to go. It's price gouging, but you decide if you want to do that. With healthcare, if you get sick, you kind of need it. You kind of don't have a choice unless you want to die, and most people don't want to die. All right, so, I can be pretty sarcastic. It's a serious topic, though, and Tulsi Gabbard is a serious candidate. So that's why I'm here. And, if you want to pry into my background a little bit, that's fine. I mean, it'll all eventually come out, and, I'll confess all of my sins to you all, and we'll just have a good laugh about it, and we'll hopefully move on and get Tulsi Gabbard elected president. Speaking of Tulsi, she's going to be on the Nico House show tomorrow. I wanted to mention that. I believe she's on at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, I want to say. But you can go and check that out over on Nico's page. What's cool about this guy, Nico, is he's got a Roku channel. I was watching his stuff, and he said, well, find me on Roku. And it took me a little while to find him, but I did find him, and it's pretty cool. You can watch Nico on the big screen TV. Don't do that with me. I know you can just watch YouTube and put it on Roku and so forth. But it's cool that he's got his own channel, his own app over there. Check him out. He's really good on a lot of stuff, and I'm learning so much from various people like himself and Kim Iverson and Jimmy Dore. He is kind of like a gateway drug, and he's hilarious too. All right, I'm done. I'll be back soon. See you then.